Why do you like the spot so much for the Sacramento Kings in the first half?
Yeah, this is a great spot for the Kings. They've lost 3 straight. They were on a 5-game road trip. They're finally back home in Sacramento. Everybody knows they love to run up and down the floor in Sacramento. Indiana does play that style as well, but you mentioned it. They're missing a lot of their key pieces, and I'm not a guy that really, handicaps games depending on injuries, but I think the style of play, when I say style of play, Matt, I mean the Pacers play zero defense. I think this is a get-right spot for the Sacramento offense because they only scored 117 against Phoenix, a similar team. I think they're going to get closer to 130, 135 in this game against Indiana. So I think it's just going to be too much for Indiana to keep up with. On the other side, if you look at the Pacers, again, great move for Siakam. I'm looking forward to the reaction with Matt and Sean, but they're also on the road, right? Obviously in Sacramento, but prior to that, Utah, Denver, Atlanta. This is a east to west coast trip that's going to be hard for them. I think they're just tired, Matt. This whole trade thing has been around the team now for a couple weeks. I think they're just tired, and I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Sacramento, who are going to be extra motivated because they've lost the last 3 games.
All right. I think it's fair. I agree that it's not a bad spot. I'm a little bit – the numbers I've looked at when we start to look at the been on the road spots when they come home, the data is just kind of inconsistent. There's not like a real strong trend there. It seems, if not at worst or at best, like the Bucks have adequately kind of compensated for it. The Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton are 3-4 this season in this stretch since December or since January 10th when he suffered the latest injury. It's win-win, loss-loss. They lost to the Nuggets on the road. That's not a bad loss. They lost to the Jazz on the road. That's not a bad loss. I get the idea that look, their 2 wins were the Wizards and the Hawks, not serious teams, right? So this is not necessarily like the Pacers, I think, are doing better maybe than I expected without Halliburton, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they've been good. My problem, I think, more than anything, is not only the number, laying this many points. I've said this on podcasts, and it's one of my favorite stats. I'll say it again. The Kings are decent defensively on the road, and they are garbage defensively at home. And it's like a weird stat that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense because you should be better in kind of all facets at home. There shouldn't be these extreme splits between home and road, or at least in the direction of the road. Like if you're bad on the road, okay, there's lots of teams like that. There's lots of teams that struggle on the road. But at home this season, the Sacramento Kings are 25th in the league in defensive rating. On the road, they are, last time I checked this, they were 9th, and they're currently 10th. They're tied for 10th. Guess who's actually better on the road defensively at the 9th best mark in the NBA? The Indiana Pacers.
Wow, that's impressive.
Pacers have actually been trending way up defensively over the last couple of weeks. For whatever reason, they kind of got to a tipping point. I forget what game it is, but they have one where it was just like Carlisle went even beyond, where he was just like, this is a joke. Like, he was so frustrated. And it seems like whatever it was, maybe it was a team meeting, whatever it was, they kind of got together and were like, all right, we do have to try like a little bit defensively. Do I think Bruce Brown leaving helps the defense? No. Was Bruce Brown necessarily impactful this season as a defender? No. Was Jordan Nwora? No. Right? Is Halliburton? No. So the defense should be able to hold here, and it's actually been pretty decent. They're competitive. And I think my thing is that I'm just much lower on the Kings. Like, I give them a bump. I've talked about this before. I have to give them a manual bump in power ratings because my raw numbers based off of half-court data are always kind of going to be like, the Kings are not very good because they don't operate in the half-court that much. Even with that, though, I just simply can't get to this number. The Pacers have been too good consistently. I don't have them downgraded. I have them downgraded for being without Halliburton, but not nearly enough to get to this number. And given that the Kings haven't been good at home, I'm willing to go ahead and take the full points. But hopefully, Kings take first half, win that first half by about 5 points, and then Pacers come back and win the second half on the road. It'll be tough, but we'll see who winds up winning.